right, everyone. It says we're live. So that means we're live. I'm just going to take a sip of my water before we get started here. I hope everyone's doing great today. I wanted to come on because I wanted to show you guys how I made this tag. So you'll notice that there's stuff everywhere on my desk, and that's because I'm a real crafter. So I leave the things on my desk that I'm using, and I want you to see kind of the process and the madness whenever I'm live. And this is what it looks like when creating a video or doing something live or creating a project. So this is it. This is real. So I want to show you, hello Eva, something that I created today. I've been dying to dig into this box and have not been able to until today. So I thought, what a perfect time for me to show you the box. Oh, you got it yesterday? Good. So just as a heads up, I want to let you guys know that we did do a restock as an extended ship, meaning that they're supposed to ship around the 23rd for the restock, but I do want to warn everybody, we literally have 16 left of the restock. 16. So if you love what I'm creating today, well, I always, you know how they say don't trust a skinny chef? Did you ever hear that before? Don't trust a skinny chef? I say that about craft. Don't trust a cleanly crafter, because it's, I mean, this is creativity. This is how creativity happens. So that's what it is. Yes, 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 yes. So basically, this is the tag that I made today. So you'll see that on the top here, we have a piece of acetate, and I'm going to tell you all about that. It says on a scale of 1 to 10, you are an 11, and the scale is SCALE. Then we have a large media tag, which is what I use for the background. We did some foiling. We're going to do some coloring today. I'm going to show you how I added these little gems to the treasure chest, and of course some of the ribbon that you will receive in your box if you do purchase the Mermaid box. This is, excuse me, the foiled ribbon that you will receive. Now, depending on the box, there are two shades that you might get. One is the lighter shade, and then one is the darker shade. So it all just depends on when your box ships out, and they're both beautiful, so I don't think it really matters all that much. But of course, I've added the mermaid from the stamp set on there, as well as the treasure chest. And I just think, I mean, I have been really into mixed media lately. Oh, and we also use surface sprays. I forgot to mention that. We use surface sprays. So all of the details are below for where you can get these products. We also used the brand new stencil from the collection as well. And I just am so in love with this tag. So I want to show you how I did it. So first and foremost, if you watched my live yesterday, I took this stencil, and this is a stencil from the release. It comes packaged just like so, and this is what it looks like. It's very detailed, it's very funky. It is in stock now, but I don't know how much longer it will be. But this is from the Mermaid release. And all I did was very simple. I just used some of the Thermoweb transfer gel, okay, and a little palette knife, which is still right here. Use the little palette knife, and I just zhuzhed it through there. So you should be able to see, let me bring it up a little bit further. You can see how it has dried completely clear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of my surface sprays, because the surface sprays really and truly give this card, or excuse me, this tag so much life. And now I want you to notice that these tags are super thick. So these can take quite a beating, and they can take a lot of mixed media on them, and that's why we brought these into the line. So I'm gonna go ahead and just place that in my little spray chamber, as I call it, and I'm going to grab some cornflower spray. I'm just gonna hit that first, and then I'm going to take some Oz spray. I'm gonna spray in the areas that I missed, okay? And now, while it's still in my little spray chamber, as I call it, I'm gonna start heat setting it. Now, the one thing and the number one question that we get asked constantly about the surface sprays is, how do you get them to dry? Now, they will dry 100% on their own without a problem. It just may take about 24 hours. I heat set almost every single project that I do with the surface sprays, simply because I'm, number one, impatient, and number two, I think it creates the really cool kind of dimpling and movement all on its own. So it makes it really, really interesting. Again, and that's just, you know, my personal opinion because I've been using them for quite some time, obviously, because we had to test them for a very long time before we launched them. So now I'm going to just take my palette knife and I'm going to lift this guy out and I'm going to continue drawing him on my mat. So let me move my little spray chamber out of the way. I'm going to grab a piece of just extra black paper just so I don't get surface spray on my mat, because surface spray is permanent. Remember that. It is completely permanent once it's dry on almost any surface. So you just want to be careful and make sure that you are mindful of that fact whenever you are creating. So I'm just going to go in, and again, I'm just taking the heat tool and going over top of everything, and then I'm going to take my microfiber cloth and I'm just going to dab it. Now, this step is completely optional. I'm just dabbing it because I saw that there was a little bit too much collecting in the one area. So now I've dabbed it, and you'll see that everything, you know, is permanent quickly. So let me bring this up so you can see just how incredible these surface sprays work. So do you see that? We've done nothing special. I literally just sprayed it. That's all I did. I sprayed it and I heat set it. Now you'll see the little dimpling of the waves there. So I'm just gonna hit it real quick one more time with the heat tool, because I learned something and discovered something very, very interesting about the surface sprays today while I was playing around. Thanks, Michelle, hello. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna heat that up and just let that sit for just a second. And then I'm gonna take a piece of just regular everyday computer paper. Okay, just some regular computer paper, cut in half, and I'm going to place my tag in where the computer paper is. But actually first, let me grab a piece of foil here. So I'm using this foil that is the gorgeous, gorgeous watercolor foil that we do carry at Brutus Monroe. So if it's something that you want to have right away to use on your project, you can pick this up with your box. And actually, let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's do it this way. And then I'm gonna place this into my piece of paper here. And I use paper all the time. You can use parchment, they do come. Georgia, I wish I could tell you that I fussy cut the mermaid. I use the scan and cut. I use the scan and cut. The scan and cut has been my #1 favorite tool. If they could just get those mats together, that would be, it would be the most wonderful tool in the world for me. The mats are where I have the problem. The mats have less to be desired, unfortunately. But again, you know, I'm sure that they are working on the mats for it. I'm just so used to Cricut because that's where I come from, is the world of Cricut, and those mats are awesome. So it's, you know, it's a hit or miss sometimes. So I've actually had to tape things down, and what I do is I actually stamp out the entire stamp set minus the sentiments, and then I scan and cut them all at one time. And we're actually going to be having a scan and cut class coming up in our store very soon, because we had a lot of folks that wanted to learn how to cut out like the center of wreaths and how to, you know, how to do some. This is, oh, I'm sorry, Eva, I should have told you. This is just a laminator. This is the Royal Sovereign, I think Sovereign is how you say it, laminator that is sold through ThermoWeb. So you can also get this right at, I think on Amazon they sell them as well. So let me go ahead and turn that puppy off before I forget. And then this is the big reveal. So you'll see that some of the areas brush nearby to get any little flecks and specks off. Yep, I have a brush right here. I'll use a brush to get any flecks and specks off of here that don't, you know, that kind of, you know, peel off a little bit. So I just take this and just go over it very quickly. And let's get all those flecks and specks off of there. And look at how cool that is. I just love it. It's, I mean, this is mixed media, I think, at its finest. And you can see anywhere that the surface spray wasn't completely dry, it's stuck. How cool is that? And you still have all the different dimension underneath. I just think that that's super cool and super exciting. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set this to the side. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna color our mermaid as well as our treasure chest, okay? So we're gonna color those, and we're just gonna keep trucking right along. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, because you guys did ask for that last time, that when I was coloring to zoom in. So I hope that's close enough for all of you. I hope that that works. So I'm going to be using my style file markers today. Oh, the foil stuck, because I used some of the transfer gel. So I used the transfer gel from ThermoWeb, use the transfer gel through the stencil. So through this stencil. Belinda, it's been shipping all week. It's been shipping, shipping, shipping. My goodness. And again, we have 16 boxes left. And once they are gone, this is our second round of shipments. They are gone. They will be gone. Okay? So I just used this transfer gel, took the palette knife, and smushed it through. Oh, and I just looked at our screen for our inventory, and it looks like we now only have 13 left. So if you want it, grab it, my friends. Grab it, grab it, grab it. So we're going to start with the mermaid, and I am using, again, my Style File markers. These are my favorite markers. They are such a great price point, and I use them for almost everything. So I'll tell you the colors that I'm using. These are our alcohol markers with a partnership with Style File, and we have so many beautiful colors. And I'm gonna start with the 214. So if you have any of the markers, 214 is French Vermilion. And I'm always gonna use the brush tip. The brush tip on these markers is absolutely fantastic. It works so incredibly well, and you'll see how juicy and wonderful these markers are, okay? So if you guys want to go and grab your box and come back, because it's gonna be a couple moments of coloring, it's up to you. There are some of you that I do get messages from that say, please color more, color more, color more. So if you do enjoy watching coloring, the price of the mermaid box is $34.99 plus shipping and handling. And it comes with so much. I guess I can show you guys what it comes with. Awesome, Denise. I'll show you what comes in the box after we're done with this, if you guys would like to see that. But if you just click the link below, you can actually see on the website exactly what comes in the box. It's actually in the description what comes in the box. So again, I'm just using the French Vermilion to go ahead on in and shade in her hair. And just add some very, very, very light shading, because I'm going to come in with that darker, the darker orange to do the rest of the hair. And I did use the detail ink. This is our old size. We now have a 2x2 that is just a little bit easier to, I think, to use, to handle. So I'm just going to go in and continue coloring her hair here, and adding just a little bit of, again, just heavier handed in some areas, which will create natural shading, which is just super fun. So I'm going in, and again, just super simple. Like I said, if you have the Style File markers, you will learn very quickly how incredibly beautiful the brush nib is on them. I mean, it's just, I search long and hard for an awesome, hello Ray, for an awesome alcohol marker that you wouldn't have to take out a second mortgage on your house to collect. And the Style File markers were the best of the best that I could find. And again, they are developed in Germany. So we do have some German friends that created these. They were actually created for the graffiti industry, and whenever I was approached to work with them, that was something that was very exciting to me, because I, come from an art background. I went to school for graphic design, and when we were in school, we had to purchase the Prismacolor markers, and they were very expensive, and they were still fairly new in the colors that were coming out. And I can remember how expensive they were to purchase, as a student. And for them to have developed these that art students can use, I just thought was incredible. So I'm just going to go in now with the terracotta, which is a darker color. I'm just going to add that into the natural lines and folds of the hair. Now, Chuck, who is our one of our illustrators, he creates these amazing shading lines for you, which makes it super simple to color, because then there's all the guesswork is gone. And then I'm just going to go back in and just add a little bit more of this beautiful, beautiful French Vermilion, and that will just kind of, shade out some of those darker points. But I think that it will go ahead and, add some really, 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 really cool shading onto it. So now I'm going to go in with the 652, which is vivid green, which we are going to use on her tail here. So I'm going to go ahead on in and add some of that here. And we're going to use a lighter green on the actual tail, actually a darker green on the, so 646 is actually turquoise green. So I'm going to use that on her tail here because I wanted a darker shade for her actual fins on her tail, because I just wanted some, you know, some contrast, which I think is really nice, you know, on the tail. And the colors will fade back a little bit, so don't worry if you're saying, oh my goodness, Christopher, that is so dark. You know, it will fade back, so don't worry. So I'm going to go ahead on in and add in some of the darker green. Okay, there we go. And I just love that. And then for her little top, I'm going to use the cerise, which is 454. And I'm also going to use that on her lips here. Okay, and then the last thing that we have to do is her skin tone. So I'm going to do a tan skin tone. I don't have, doesn't look like I have my tan marker here from Style File, but luckily Style File works with all the other alcohol markers, so I'm just going to use the TN3 from good old Spectrum Noir, which was the markers that I collected before I discovered the Style File. And of course, I mean, I, you know, really collected a lot of alcohol markers. I do have almost a full set of Copics as well. But again, it's, you know, I wanted to find some different color variations, and the Style File markers really were it for me. I just absolutely loved the way that they looked. So there she is, all colored. I think that she looks really cool. What do you guys think? Is it good? Good? Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to move her up here a little bit, and now I'm going to do the treasure chest, which is going to be very simple, very simple. So I'm going to start with the terracotta again, which is the darker color that we used in her hair. And this is going to be the simplest coloring that you will probably see ever, because I'm just going in and I'm just shading in all of the brown areas first. I'm going to keep my fingers out of the way. All the brown areas first, super easy. Just be mindful of the jewels that are here. And I'm just going in and just very haphazardly, because again, this is an old treasure chest. So an old treasure chest generally is not going to have the most fantastic, you know, look to it. So then I'm just going to add in a little bit of the chestnut brown, just a tiny little bit, and then you'll notice when I come back in with the terracotta, it's going to blend that out, and it's going to give it a natural look of blending. So just going to blend that out very quickly. See how easy that was? Easy peasy. Easy peasy. Then I'm going to bring in some pastel yellow, and I'm going to color in all of these areas. And again, like I said, this is mixed media, so don't let it, you know, don't let it intimidate you, because you can make this look absolutely incredible just very quickly. And again, we're live, so I don't want to, you know, take up your entire day. So I am, you know, going quicker than I probably normally would. But again, you can see that you can quickly add in this color, and I think it's going to look great. So then I'm just going to add in some more of the yellow for the treasure, of course, because we are going to be adding some jewels in for the treasure as well. So go ahead and add more. And again, if you want to make these a different color, like, I don't know, let's maybe, since just for sake of being here, let's do those in maybe vivid red. And, you know, so there's a little bit of color on the jewelry here. And again, create your own ending. Do whatever you would like. It's completely up to you. No one that receives this this card from you is going to have any idea what it was supposed to look like or what you meant for it to look like. You can do whatever you would like. So now I'm going to add the jewels to this so they have a second to dry. I'm going to grab some of my Brutus Monroe craft glue that dries very quickly. And I'm going to grab my or my drawer, I guess I should say, of gems. And I'm just gonna, put a couple out here and add a couple on. So I'm just gonna add some tiny little drops of glue here. There we go. And we do sell a fine tip lid for that. If you want a fine tip lid, it's completely up to you. Sometimes, the broader lid, you like that, it's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in all of these little gems here. And again, the sky's the limit. I think these gems, I don't even know, can't even tell you when I got these gems. It was so long ago. But I think the cool thing about them is they just add whimsy and they add interest to it. And it's something as simple as these little gems. They're gonna catch your eye on the card that is already, that's already super luminescent and super shiny because we used all of that beautiful foil. Okay, so let me put these away here. Okay, all set. All right, so now this is done as well. So now the last piece of the puzzle where we actually have to, I guess you could say, do something for the card is going to be, I'm going to be using this piece of acetate. Now, this acetate is special acetate. I want you guys to note that. This acetate is actually from ThermoWeb, and their acetate is heat resistant. And the reason I know that it's heat resistant is because it's made to go through a laser printer. And this is important because we are going to be embossing it. So I'm using the Embossing Buddy. This is my favorite one. There's a lot of folks that really don't like this one because of the way that the powder comes out. I love it because if this runs out, I just put some, hello Susan, I just put in some of the cornstarch baby powder. You can get it at the Dollar Tree, and it works just like new. So I'm gonna grab my Misty because I already have the sentiment set up on it. Let me move this out of the way. Oh, let's turn the Misty around. I use the mini Misty so often, so incredibly often. I'm just gonna add my magnets on here. Oops, let me get into frame. Okay, and then I'm gonna add just a little bit of the Brutus Monroe embossing ink. Okay, and I need everybody to cross their fingers because the first time I did this today, it came out perfectly. And now can you use baby powder for embossing? You can, but there's a big but there. I only suggest using the baby powder that has cornstarch in it. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the baby powder that has cornstarch in it, but that's the only one that I would recommend using. But that's what I refill. That's actually what's in here right now, and you'll see how well it's going to work. So I'm just going to go ahead and just lightly, very lightly tap that and lift. Oh, I think we got it. Okay, so everybody hold your breath that nothing happens to this piece of acetate between me going ahead and embossing it and now. So I'm going to use just a piece of paper, and I'm going to use some of our gilded embossing powder. See our gilded embossing powder? I'm just going to grab the acetate, just be very careful, and I'm just going to add on some of the gold. Okay, then I'm going to add on, so there we go. And it might not look like much now, so I will show you what as soon as we heat it up. So you can see there, it doesn't look like much now. It's really just a, looks like just like a piece of acetate with a little bit of dirt on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it, and you'll see how quickly this is going to heat set. So you can't see much now. Do you see what I mean? You can't see much. You would almost think that it's not going to work. So now I'm going to grab my heat tool, and you'll see as soon as your heat tool heats up, this is going to happen in like seconds. Done. Do you see that? All done. And the best part is there is very, very, very little warping of this acetate because it's made to go through a laser printer. So it's not going to get all gross on you, which is really, really awesome. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stitched rectangle die. This is from the foundation dies, the foundation die set. And let's see, yep, that's the right one. So let me put these back here. And then I do use a shim, so I'll show you what that means in a second. And I'm gonna grab a piece of purple tape, and I'm just reusing a piece of purple tape from before. and I'm just going to place this right on top here. Now the one thing, oops, it would help if it was the right way, Christopher. You want to make sure that you do not touch your embossed surface until it's completely dry, because on the acetate, your embossed surface will absolutely, you will get a fingerprint in it. That's what happened to me on the first one. That's the only reason I know, is I got a fingerprint in mine whenever I first did this through the machine. So now I'm gonna grab the Spellbinders Platinum machine, because it has a ton of pressure, and you're not gonna be able to see what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna run this through really quickly. I apologize. So I'm gonna run this through the machine really quickly, and I will show you what happens. And I might not need the shim, I don't know, we will see. Nope, it looks like, oh, yep, it looks like we're going to shim, which is just another media tag, is all that I'm using. So we'll put that through with the media tag. And if it doesn't cut through all the way, and the reason that it may not cut through all the way is just because it, you know, there's many reasons depending on, you know, your plates and, you know, all of those different things. There's lots of different factors as to why it may not cut out completely. So let me go ahead and pop my machine back down below here, and then I will grab my piece here. Let me pull off the purple tape, and the purple tape is literally the best thing ever. So, oh, it cut out perfectly that time with the shim. Where to get the stuff, the link is below, okay? So I'm gonna start assembling my card now. So easy. So this is the beginning of it, and I'm going to grab some foam dots, some foam squares, and I'm going to take 2 of them and place them on the back of my mermaid. So 1 and 2, and these are the large foam squares. Actually, this is a set of foam squares. You go to brutusmonroe.com, the ThermoWeb foam squares, it comes with 2 different sizes, which is, I think, fantastic, because sometimes you need the big ones and sometimes you need the little ones. I use the bigger foam squares mostly, though. So now I'm going to go ahead and place that there. Then we're going to grab our little treasure chest here. And again, those little gems that I think just add so much cool dimension and whimsy to them. Now, I'm almost 100% certain that these gems are already dry, but just in case they're not completely dry, I am going to take my time here, and I'm going to peel off the back, just using a little pick tool from Cricut. I just missed what you said. I saw something about a machine, but I missed it. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this piece off here, and add our little treasure chest down here in the corner. And then I'm going to take the, on a scale of 1 to 10, you are an 11. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to staple it, okay? Because I think that that looks super cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab my stapler and staple that on. And you can see how the difference that we have there between the dark background and the foreground. And on this one, I'm going to use the lighter of the two, because I did use the darker ribbon on this one. So I'm going to use the lighter ribbon on this one. And let me just cut a little piece of this off here. Okay. And I'm just going to place this right on through here. Really easy peasy. Okay. Run this on through. And this is a nice, hefty, you know, really great ribbon. And then all I'm going to do is just pull these 2 up at the top. I'm just going to staple it again. You can do whatever you would like. I prefer stapling it because I think it looks really cool and really, you know, kind of vintagey and unique. And there we go. So there is, and I'll zoom out again really quickly so you guys can see what's happening here. So let me zoom out so you can see both of them together. Okay. So here is the one we just did, and here's the one that I did earlier. So her hair got a little bit redder or a little bit darker, but everything else kind of looks the same. So thank you, Eva. So yeah, so this is, and I'm probably gonna cut down this ribbon just a little bit here, but again, it's completely up to you. Create your own ending. Everything that I mean, pretty much everything that was used here, with the exception of the ThermoWeb products, are in the box. So you can make these all on your own. I would suggest, if you are one of the lucky few that will probably get the box on this airing of the box, I would grab some of the big tags because they work really, really well with, of course, the surface sprays. And I think that you will really, really love and enjoy creating this project. So I'm going to head off because I have lots of things to do before I head out for Texas next week. I will see you guys very soon. I'll probably be live again next week so we can chit chat and talk about the fun things you're going to do with your mermaid box. And I thank you all so much for tuning in. And remember to always create your own ending. Goodbye.